Kia ora, everyone. Thanks for joining. Welcome to this webinar and this next 20 minutes where we're going to cover off some quite detailed topics and some of the key questions we're going to dive right into in terms of why you're here and what's in it for you. So we're here to talk about smart people doing dumb stuff, but more importantly, mastering how you work through the process of thinking about return on investment of generative AI, but also to remove the hype from that conversation. And we figure out over the next 20 minutes, how we dig into your use cases. Now, we're not going to be talking generic use cases here across generative AI. We're going to be thinking about a mental framework for you to look at the feasibility and value of Gen AI in your organization. And we're going to go digging for some gold. We may find some, we may not. But this is a bit of an exploration to give you the tools, tricks, and methodologies to unpick and go beyond the hype and figure out where value is for your business. So I want to start off by framing a few things, because I think it's important that we kind of get a sense of what the market is like right now. So for me, and I think for many people right now, AI is a little bit like when we were a teenager. And of course, this is a bit of a provocative statement, but I think it's fair to say that the amount of noise that's happening around this topic right now, the amount of value that is perceived that being created by generative AI, there's a lot of talk. Very, very few people really know how to get the best out of this technology at this point. And everyone thinks everyone else is kind of cracking on with it. So they're claiming that they're doing it as well. And that is absolutely okay, because the reality is the technologies that are available to us now, with the advent of large language models and the fact that intelligence is now at the fingertips of many people, there is this notion of perceived extreme value, and competitive edge is a real thing, and business is a real thing. So therefore, we'll unpack what that means and move beyond the chatter, beyond if other people are talking about it, and get right into the detail. So objectives, why you're here. Over the course of the next 20 or so minutes, we're going to cover three things in quite some detail. We're going to package all of these things up as well and ship them out separately so you can cut right to them if you want to replay them. And also the whole of this webinar will be sent to you as a replay as well. So we're going to cover off what is possible with generative AI. Now, this isn't talking about technology. It's not talking about large language models. It's going to be looking at, in the reality of this technology applied to be honest, pretty tedious work, the possibilities of what can be achieved. And we're going to look at that on behalf of some of our customers, and also just unpack actually without the hype in the conversation, what can be done. And then we're going to look at how we can apply that to parts of your business. Secondly, we're going to look at identifying use cases. This goes through a feasibility framework, which essentially is where can we see value in your current tedious work and workflow, and how we just prescribe value to that. And then we look at a little bit of mapping out feasibility and some tools and techniques we're going to walk through that allow you to do that outside of this webinar also. And then finally, return on investment. So we're going to work through the calculations, the maths, which allow you to take work that exists with people, apportioning to risk, and looking at opportunities that come from thinking about the use cases and then playing around with the maths. Because ultimately, return on investment cannot be a headline. It has to be something that can progressively be measured in a qualitative and quantitative way. But they're just big words, and we want to cut right to that and give you some tools and techniques to move through it. So my commitment to you is we're going to remove the hype. We're going to push beyond the headlines, and we're going to try and get some value unlocked for you and give you a set of assets to be able to move forward and think with as you go on the journey of unleashing productivity for your teams. So let's get into it. Firstly, my background, Dave Howden. I'm the CEO and co-founder of SupaHuman. We built this business to aid smart people from tedious work and remove that for organizations. We're a New Zealand-based solutions provider, ultimately here to automate work with the use of Gen AI and find tedious workflows across organizations and apply technology to help to remove that. But we're really a business-first consulting-led organization that brings the technology and our workspace platform to your organization to get value extremely quickly. We're a team of 20 plus PhD and master's engineers who have been doing this before AI was cool. And we're really, really proud to be working with some of New Zealand's best businesses in this space to really help their productivity and also, to be able to solve problems that they've not been able to solve before. Right, let's get into the meat and potatoes. Why do you care? Now, regardless of the technology stack, regardless of anything that is perceived as value of generative AI now, I think it's important that we take a step back and look at why we're in business. Three things that I think are fundamental that have never really changed over the course of, well, ever when it comes to business. The first is growth, where I've never met a business that doesn't want to grow, and I've never met a business that doesn't want to be more efficient, and or one that wants to carry more risk than is necessary. Now, with every technology that has arrived on our doorstep, be it steam, be it electricity, the printed circuit board, all the way through to the modern era of mobile, cloud, blockchain, and now AI services, the thought process of how does this technology apply to me growing my business, being more efficient, and managing my risk is just ubiquitous in that conversation. Things don't change now because of Gen AI. It's purely that the shift can be so significant across these three areas that I think it's got everybody a little bit of a spin. And this is the lens that we want to apply today when we're looking at use cases. Where are the opportunities to grow? Where are the opportunities to be more efficient? And where are the opportunities to manage risk? Now, I say that like I'm asking you a question, which I'm absolutely not. We're going to look at the methodologies about how you find that gold within those three pillars, and then give you the tools to be able to turn around to yourself, look at yourself in the mirror, or your peers or your stakeholders, and go, right, with this investment, we can see how we can quantify return on these things in these pillars in this way. And there are also some qualitative things as well outside of that that are just inherently better ways of doing things, because there is a better way. They're not always that measurable. We're going to make sure we kind of balance those three things out. This will allow us to figure out what goal we're actually kicking for. And once we understand that across these three pillars, we can then actually form up some sensible conversations around how we invest in this technology. And don't think of it in terms of a hype cycle, but think of it in terms of a very, very mature technology deployment that can transform businesses, actually give a competitive edge, and make people more productive with real return and results. So what is possible? So we're going to start out by laying out a bit of a formula. And we're doing this because we think it's important that we kind of just lay out the key components about what drives value. Now, the promise of AI is the magic. Now, technology can be perceived as magic at times. The reality is this is just really, really good engineering, and bringing the fact of human language into parts of a workflow can feel like magic at times. But ultimately, the reason we're looking at growth, efficiency, and risk is that when you put this magic into your business in the right way, which is the preceding parts of this formula, you can make really, really faster decisions, which you've ever made before, because you're more informed than you've ever been. Your work becomes increasingly more accurate because it's computationally being completed as opposed to humanly being completed. You can find insights across your organization and customer base a hell of a lot quicker in light speed in most cases. And the big thing here is there is a better way, and tedious work is not fun. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for your employees or your customers. And by bringing the parts of this formula together, we think these are the four key value points that perceived as magic. But how do we get there? And then how do we figure out what that tedious work is? So firstly, generative AI as a discipline. What is it capable of? Well, when you've taken essentially the human language across all languages that exist in the world and have made that as an interface to intelligence, you democratize the ability to ask for things and get work done. The challenge with human beings is that we're made of biological stuff. We have hands, we have fingers, we have eyes. We can only read so quickly, and we can only type so fast. And that limits our ability for input-output. How quickly can we get intelligence into us and knowledge, and how quickly can we create it? Generative AI is the ability to infuse the human language and world knowledge with the ability to create at exceptional speed and search at exceptional speed, but not just search in terms of pulling back lots of information, turn it contextually into something that is useful for the user. And therefore, that work can be automated on the back of that. And generative AI is inherently faster than the human body. In fact, it's 8,000 characters per minute can be typed by AI. And that's the worst it's ever going to be. It's only going to get quicker over time. When you take that technology and harness it and give it guide rails and rules around what you want it to do, you can create something that's exceptionally powerful. Creating documents, long form context, reports, audits, compliance, anything where it would have taken humans a long time to read and or type can be shifted left into this technology, because it's based on the ability to find, recall, and create information exceptionally quickly. However, world knowledge is not your knowledge. Your business is your business. And this is where the hype kind of gets a little bit in the way, is that this is not just about the large language model and the underlying technology. We have to frame this in the world of which you exist, which is your organization. So when you take generative AI plus your world and you give AI access to your intellectual property, policies, procedures, legislative outlook, the standards at which you need to adhere to, the data inside your organization, your brand, tone of voice, and your accountabilities, you create a digital version of your world, which allows your human employees to be able to operate at absolute light speed across all the things which inherently they would have had to previously learn and or search for. That doesn't devalue the human. It means just the time to value for the human is exceptionally quick, and the quality and everything that goes with what we're limited by, which is our eyes, our brains, and things that make errors, is essentially shifted into a far more guarded approach. So generative AI plus your world knowledge does equal that magic, and the ability to create content at great speed, the reduction of tedious work, and make super fast decisions with far more knowledge to back them up. So hopefully that gives you a context of what is possible when you put those three parts together. And we call that organizational intelligence. And the definition for us of organizational intelligence is AI that knows you, your business, your world, and that works for you. Technology that forgets about the things that are useless and focuses on your world knowledge to amplify your mission and move your business forward. So I'm going to go into a quick organizational intelligence demo now. This demo is for an organization called SupaHuman. They're actually based on a very large telecommunications provider here in New Zealand. So this is real world data, and this AI is trained on the processes of this organization, the products, their vendor documentations, and their network data. Now, this is the legislative environment, the product environment, the operational environment of a very large telco. And that is a highly complex place to work. And therefore, if you imagine arriving at an organization on your first day as a sales individual, you've got to learn hundreds of products, hundreds of procedures. How do you price deals? How do you talk to customers? What's the sales methodology? And how do you get time to value pretty quickly? And that's the demonstration we're going to take a look at now. So we'll cut to the demo environment and we'll show a bit of tech in action around what it means when you put Gen AI plus your world data and create some magic. Okay, so here we are in the AI workspace of SupaHuman, a large telecommunications company based here in Aotearoa. This is a workspace. Over on the left-hand side, you can see that this customer actually has 3 AIs with us. One is designed for RFP response. Another is designed as an organizational brain for intelligence across the whole of the organization. And they also have a support AI as well for the purposes of network interrogation and fixing faults, etc. But we're going to work in the super brain today. And we're going to assume the persona of a salesperson who's just arrived for their first day at SupaHuman. And the idea is to demonstrate how quickly an individual can get up to speed and actually get selling and get ground running. So this AI is designed to hold information around products, services, procedures, guidance and standard operating procedures around how people get their work done. And if it doesn't have that information in its inherent training, then it's going to use world knowledge to help guide the individual. So let's get into it. I am new to SupaHuman as a sales account manager. I have a call with a small business from Tauranga who has 50 people. Can you give me an overview of our mobile plans for them? So that's a pretty complex ask. I'm new, a customer, they're a small business, they're in Tauranga, 50 people, give me an overview of the mobile plans. And also it's having to deal with my useless English because I've got 5 fingers. So what the AI has done, it's come back and said, great, mobile connectivity services for small business. These are the appropriate features. And there's a few plan options. They've got a small business plan, standard business plan, etc. Now, there's obviously a lot more plans than that, so they've honed it in for small benefits, giving you the business benefits, etc. So what we'll do now is we'll say, okay, great. give me a call script. Pitching these services. I have a call with them in 5 minutes. Now, this is looking at world knowledge. So the company have not actually ever really done call scripts at all. They're just saying, hey, look, there's world knowledge out there that'll allow me to have a better call. You can see here, this could be a very junior account director that's just started, and we're looking at how do we create position with clients? How do we understand their requirements, needs? How do we pitch the services? And then how do we give them a plan of the overview of the services that we offer and the benefits, etc. Allow confidence with that individual to be up and running. Cool. Okay, great. The client loves this. Can you go with the small business plan for 50 seats and price this deal in an email to the client? So asking if now multi-directional complex things, put this into an email, price the deal. So we've had the call with the client, salesperson's done a great job, and we're now turning it into an asset that they can follow up the call with. So proposal from SupaHuman for your business. Hope this finds you well. Small business plan, price, plan details, benefits, total monthly cost. We're confident this meets your needs. So in a matter of near minutes, we've turned someone that's not operated in this business before, delivering on point, valid, accurate information to a client so we can get them up and running. Now, obviously, because this is world knowledge, this can do things that the human can't do as well. So this company is HQ'd in Germany. Can I have this in German, please? Again, not great typing from me, but the AI figures it out. And there we go, translated directly in German. And you can go on and on and on and on. So, for example, the client might say, back in English, please. Just get this back to English. The client may say, like, I want a comparison, table on table comparison. And we can just actually just get that done straight away. And then we'll conclude the demo. The client has asked for a comparison on all the other plans. Please put this into a table. So we've updated the email with the price comparison of all the other small business plans appropriate for this organization, and put it into a nice table, the different price points, the different feature sets, and updated that email accordingly. So that is a demonstration, a very short demonstration of organizational intelligence, where you have a generative AI underpinning set of technologies with organizational data, knowledge, your world data, and then assuming the persona of a salesperson for the purposes of helping them make quick decisions, generating content, and getting to value quickly. All of this information is underpinned by ISO 27001 and PII controls. So again, enforcing policy of the organization as well, which is important because humans do make mistakes. And again, huge value to getting the salesperson up and running as quickly as possible. So now let's go and take a look at return on investment. So looking at return on investment, we want to give ourselves a few seconds to kind of think of some crucial questions to ask. When you take that intelligence of a large language model or multiple sets of technologies that drive the output of good use of natural language, semantic search, and everything that's needed to kind of pull the technology side of things together, just assume that exists because that's what we're here for. And then you combine that with your world, which is operational, finance, sales, marketing, institutional knowledge, policy, procedure, intellectual property, and you pull those two things together. Just imagine where you can put that to work for the purposes of bringing the magic to your organization. And we see this happening across loads of organizations where they're looking at complex activities that just take too much time, or accuracy is not good across their compliance, audits, reports, writing procedures, writing training, assessing documents, etc. Now, there is absolutely work to be done to bring all of those things together, but it is do it once, do it well, and you unlock a huge amount of value. And just buying a tool to execute these things at a lightweight level isn't really cutting it in this day and age. There's an absolutely brand new way of working and reimagining how your organization can operate to move forward into the future. What we're going to go into now is a process of return on investment feasibility, which helps us map out how we can look at things that are highly feasible, but also drive huge and significant value for your business. So we'll get into that. So first things first, let's map out how we're going to go through the feasibility approach. We're going to take a look at value. So when we're thinking about use cases, about applying that formula to your business, we're trying to identify things that are considerable value to you, and we're going to work out what that value looks like in a sec. And then we're going to play that off against feasibility. It's no good having something that's really highly valuable, but is exceptionally complex to implement. If the value is there, then it may be worth it down the line, but ultimately we want to be looking at things that are highly feasible and high value and then work backwards from there. So we're going to use this framework to frame up our thinking about how we think about use cases inside your business. Now, this is your business, not mine. So therefore, it's your thinking. We will absolutely help and stimulate that conversation on the way. But this is important to realize that there's a lot of talk about AI use cases, and there's just a magic list of them. They're your use cases, and we want to help you find that for yourself, because your business is your business, and it's pretty much different from everybody else's. So 4 areas we're going to think about. The first is the no-brainer zone. It's highly feasible. It's a reasonable amount of effort, but the value is exceptionally high. The second is low-hanging fruit. Easy and really feasible, but essentially the value is not that high. So it's a case of, okay, cool, let's just get that done because it's feasible. The third is big bets. Value is exceptionally high, but we've got to really put in some hard yards to get there. And the final one is the backlog. Things that are low value, hard, we may get to them one day, but they don't move the needle for the organization. That's how we're going to frame that up. And we're going to now put that into 3 categories to think about. And we're going to work through these programmatically, and then we're going to give you some tools to be able to work these out for yourselves also. So let's kick into the first one, which is people. Now, people can be a risky subject when we're talking around the democratization of processes and policy, etc., and bringing that into your business. But really, there are a few key areas to look at how you apply return on investment thinking to people. And it's not all about cost out, which I think is the dramatic headline that people are thinking with AI is going to take my job. The first is where you have tedious work in your organization, how many people are impacted by that specific thing? So if you have a compliance team of 5 people and they're spending 8 hours a day sifting through legislation and trying to match that to compliance standards and operational output, etc., then that's the people that we impacted by that specific use case. So don't think of the people number as all of your business. Think about where the tedious work exists in pockets, and then just start applying. If I built this scenario where I had generative AI plus the knowledge that they needed to do their job, and they could do that with higher accuracy and at quicker speed, how many people are impacted by that? Then we're looking at the percentage of time that those individuals spend on this specific task. Then we're looking at the cost of that individual, so the investment that you make in their payroll. And then this is the kicker, the upside if you were to redeploy. Now, I think it's fair to say that when we look at return on investment, it's easy to assume that, oh, well, we're going to automate that job, therefore there's no need for that person. That's not true in pretty much any scenario. It is in certain scenarios where you're really shifting everything around and remodeling the way you work. We're really thinking about this in terms of revenue upside, because we're looking at the growth column as well, not just the efficiency, but the growth column. So, for example, if you're a knowledge organization in a consulting business, for example, time is valuable, as that time can be redeployed on billable work. So we want to bring into that calculation the upside per day of that individual. An upside per day is if you're charging out your consultants at, say, $1,000 a day, we want to know that number in the calculation, because if we can save them, say, for 100 hours over the course of a month, or 100 hours over the course of a quarter or a year, that is billable time back into the scheduler and billable time back into the market, which doesn't just save cost on payroll, but is deployed back into a revenue generating line item. So we need to put that into the calculation. So when we're mapping through people into the return on investment calculator, that we have a tool for you that we're going to share as part of this webinar. So don't fear, we have the maths for you, so you can just go and plumb these numbers in. Number of people impacted, percentage of time they're spending on the task, the cost of the person and the upside per day. So we can work out the opportunity cost, the actual cost, and how that can come back. Second way to think about this is in terms of risk and risk avoidance. So what types of risk do you carry in your business? Where are humans in the loop and contributing to a higher level of risk than you possibly want to carry? What is the magnitude of that risk when it goes wrong? And what are the chances of that risk? And what that means in practicality is, where have you got contracts that aren't fully vetted because you can't get to them? Where is there contracts that you're doing with your clients that just need to be rapidly risk assessed? What things are humans doing where they're introducing human errors that actually, if they're caught, they reduce the risk profile of the organization significantly? So this is not a time-based thing. This is, if you get caught out, there is a cost to your business, and it could be in the tune of millions for, say, regulatory fines. How do we reduce that risk vector with an appropriate investment? The third thing is revenue and cost. Now, the most important thing here is don't double count. Revenue and cost can sit in people as well. But really what we're talking about here is missed opportunity, which is there are just certain things in business that don't get done because they're too complex, and they don't get done because they take far too much time, and that means missed opportunity. So think about responding to sales RFPs. You on a Friday afternoon, you receive an RFP from a client. They're going to tender. They've given you a week's deadline to do the work. The sales team are maxed. They need to lean on the operational parts of the business for input. And look, you're just not going to get it done. You're not going to get it done with quality. You're not going to get it done with any form of accuracy. And you would essentially qualify out of that opportunity at that time. If an AI is writing these responses for you, it's pre-trained on all your organizational knowledge. So therefore, you can get to the first draft within 10 minutes. That's what we mean by new opportunity cost. It's where are you not playing because you haven't got the capacity to do it, and can you shift that capacity to somebody else? So all in all, we've now got a framework to think about of how do we look at the feasibility of how hard and complex things could be, and then the value that can bring to your business. So we've got a series of tools to help you do this. There is an ROI calculator, which we can do one-on-one with you in our 90-minute workshops, or it's available on our website as well for you to play around with and calculate different scenarios around people, percentage of time, and look at how that can shape up for your business. It's then our job in partnership with you to look at the investment case for that and what dollars need to be invested for the purposes of bringing that productivity to life. So in terms of ROI, we believe it's really important to pause at this point and look at that term itself. And we break this down into quantitative and qualitative measurements and considerations that are really important in the dialogue with your business. Whether you're a business owner, senior exec, board member, senior member of management, it's important that we don't just throw that word around and we actually look at the meat and potatoes of what that means when we present return on investment to an organization. So we've broken these down for you. Again, this will all be shared. There's the pack available. You can replay this video. We've broken these down into areas which are prioritized for medium to large size businesses inside of the Australia and New Zealand landscape, where the priorities are based on the sentiment within the market right now, but also just really clear descriptions and specific measures and relevance to tracking these things. And some may be relevant for you, some may not be. And we've given you the top 7 in both qualitative and quantitative for the purposes of looking at things can be measured and things that can't be measured. Now, I get it. From a CFO's perspective, everything's going to want to be measured, and I get that. I totally understand. The reality is here, we're looking at things on the table that drive accuracy up. They reduce risk. They're not always wholly binary ones and zeros. We need to present a balanced view. So on a quantitative basis, revenue, cost, productivity. Now, they're things that when you say them quickly, they sound really easy, but we've been really specific in the measurements here. How do you describe those measurements? And then how do you track them? And hopefully this table gives you a sense of this is how we want to position things in your organization, to give you the language, the narrative, the vocabulary to be able to land this with the stakeholders. Secondly is the qualitative stuff, the ROI considerations. These are things that aren't wholly driven by a dollar figure or a number, but you can just see how this could be highly valuable to your business. Not all KPIs are equal. Not all KPIs come with a dollar figure. So therefore, these are things that relate to customer experience, faster decision-making, improved brand perception, all things that are material to driving the measurable stuff, but aren't necessarily measurable themselves. Same again, we're trying to go to the detailed length to give you the assets to be able to take this internally and figure this all out. So this is the approach that we take here at SupaHuman to drive these conversations. Right now we're helping you go through the process of identifying value, and this is our commitment to you. It's our investment to you to help discover opportunities and build those ROI cases. From here, we support you and build you a plan to create that value, which means how do we put smart people with your smart people and train intelligence to be organizationally fit and controlled for supporting your people and driving the use cases that we deem to be feasible and of high value to you. And then we work alongside you to sustain that AI workspace for your organization and grow as your business grows, because intelligence doesn't stay still, it grows over time. And we call this the SupaHuman operating model, which is taking the power of large language models and AI technologies, combining that with your world knowledge to create the magic for faster decision making and creation of output. Now we want to land a parting gift with you. I appreciate we've covered quite a lot over the course of the last half an hour or so. There are two things that we think are materially important to help the decision makers amongst us think about AI and return on investment in a clear way. The first is our commitment to you. This is a 90-minute return on investment workshop where our smart people and your smart people get into a room and we take the gloves off and we start working through the graph indicator of feasibility and value. And we bring our intellectual property from the over 100 projects that we've done in automating work with Gen AI and look at how we can position that inside your business and walk away with a really mature, educated set of use cases and a rough understanding of the investment that's needed to drive that. You leave those sessions with use case design, technical feasibility, a good understanding of metrics, and a real clear plan to building organizational intelligence for your business. The second piece is our online ROI calculator. This is live at SupaHuman.com. And it's designed for you to have a self-engagement where you can play around with the different variables that you believe your use case caters for and calculates the maths for you. So you don't need to worry about the assumptions and time worked and doing all the maths yourself. Go around, play around with that, number of people impacted, the as-is situation, the to-be situation. And it will allow you to look at essentially the scale at which AI can support you in your business. Available now at SupaHuman.com. So guys, I just wanted to thank you for your time. This webinar is recorded and will be sent to you for rewatch. The slide pack and assets are available also. Yeah, it's been a pleasure going deep on this subject with you. Remember that there's a lot of hype out there. It's important that partnering with local individuals and teams that get the New Zealand and Australia outlook is really, really important. And working with specialists who do this day in, day out. Time to value for us is exceptionally quick, but we want to do a good job and partner with organizations that get it, want it, have got the capability to do it. So in saying that, there is always a better way. Thank you for your time. And if there's any questions, please do reach out. Thank you.